I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just fucking go to... No, I'll just do it in front of her, shouldn't I?
Going! He's kept going! He scored! Oh, Stockport pressure. And the header and a superb goal! Johnny did it! Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson!
It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we got a small house, a small house, but we got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
Hello and welcome to the second instalment of SK3 TV, the show that's giving you the first word on the weekends and indeed, because it's pre-season, the previous week's action with me, Nick, and Hannah. Hello, Hannah.
I wasn't expecting to just appear. I wasn't sure whether there'd be some kind of, I don't know, dramatic intro, but after
If only we'd been backstage for 10 minutes discussing stuff, we could have chatted about that really. But no, we're just putting the world to rights instead. How did you find the first week? We're a week into this endeavour now. How's it been for you?
I mean, it's just I did four podcasts last week, so it's just just another one. People will be sick of me.
It's just another brick in the wall. Yeah,
but no, it was fun. It was nice. I've said this before, like with the other stuff that I do, I try not to harp on too much about county. So it was nice to be able to do that for a change and not feel guilty about it. Because I kind of overcompensate or undercompensate in terms of I go so far the other way that county fans will say to me, "Oh, we only covered county for 5 minutes at the end." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't want to be Liam basically and monopolize and talk about Bradford for 80% of it."
Well, someone's got to care about Bradford, haven't they? 'Cause the owners don't seem to, by the sounds of it. But we are giving debuts to 2 of the teams. Well, definitely 1, hopefully 2. Well, he gets his stuff sorted. Speaking of which, there he is. So, hey, now you're talking. So, right-footed, but with the ability to operate off either flank, Northumbria-born Jonathan Baker's early career saw him embark on a mazy dribble through the English West Midlands, the Spanish Basque territory and Levenshulme, before moving down the 192 bus route and developing, quite to his surprise, an all-consuming passion for the football club on his new Kale Green doorstep. His early attendance at Edgeley Park was simply nomadic, featuring a brief flirtation with the main stand, at the foot of which Vernon Bear once spied him tucking into a half-time tray of chips, peas and gravy and called him a greedy bastard. Fair play. Home fixtures now find him firmly ensconced within the lower reaches of Upper Tier 3, while on Saturday away days his music and chat-based breakfast time radio show forms an essential part of the big match build-up for literally tens of avid listeners. A confirmed romantic, his desire for Ben Hinchliffe to continue shanking exactly 1 clearance per game high into the director's box from now until the end of civilization stands as a matter of public record. It's Jonathan the Geordie Hatter. Hello, mate. How are we?
How are you doing? Thank you for the introduction.
You wrote it.
I know.
Can write our own reviews.
I deliberately didn't read it again in the recent days or weeks because I thought I'd like to hear it again. As much as anything to remind myself of how I got here and exactly in what order the various parts of that mazy dribble happened, and when I ended up on the 192. So yes, thank you for that public service on behalf of the County Nation, Nick. It's great to be here.
Well, we're almost doing a Neil Young weekly cosplay thing here because we've got 2 debuts: polyester pervert, fabric fancier, cotton connoisseur, nylon nonce, a man who owns upwards of 6 county match-worn shirts and knows a story behind every one. It's Ben Walker. Welcome, Ben.
It is. Thank you. I'm going to say good to be back, but I'm not back. I'm here. I'm new. What's my scan number? Am I number 4, number 5 tonight?
You are number... Yeah, I'm 1. Hannah's 2. Will's 3. Yeah, number 5.
Number 5. 005 or 0005. I'll take that on the back of my shirt.
Are we all going to
first
get
of all,
pissed and get tattoos at Christmas? We're going to get our scan numbers tattooed on us.
I just want to apologise for the state of my house. We're moving house in 2 weeks. So the big kind of decant of everything from all the various rooms into this room, which is where I am now, has begun, which is why it looks like I live in a house where no one takes care of it. So, and just creeping into view. Ooh,
There we go.
look at that.
Oh, that red shirt looks familiar.
It's a rail of goodies. Yeah, there's Dave Miller's Wembley shirt. It's the shirts which aren't in storage. I've brought them down, so we'll have a good rummage through in a bit if you want. I've got about
Excellent.
80 or so there. We could pick the bones out of. So
Right, let's go SK3 TV after dark and just stay on till midnight talking shirts. Do that some world record attempt. Cheers to everyone who's tuning in. Some big names in the comments, including Will Howells, who was on here. He's not been sacked already, for the people asking in the comments. He's just busy having a life and stuff like that. Can't go doing this every Monday, can you? It's just weird. Although we've committed to it, unfortunately. If you are tuning in, don't forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, follow, and all that. Got it in early this week. Done. That's me done for the week. So, without further ado, we should probably jump into it because we've got a lot of county stuff to talk about. We've got probably a bit of it. I'd like to discuss England because people have just gone very thick when it comes to the others. As I see you've been ploughing a lone furrow on yellow board, Ben, with the England
I don't know.
discussion.
It's a slog, isn't it? Trying to get sense out of that place. Obviously, I shouldn't say that because it's all great friends on there. But sometimes it can be very, very difficult. It's a tournament. Just win some games. Don't care if you don't play well. We're 3 games away from winning a trophy now. Doesn't matter. Grind out of another war of attrition against who we played, Switzerland. Just grind it out. Keep it going. Then do the same in the semis. It'd be great if we did, I said this earlier, used the phrase like if we swashbuckled our way to the final, we beat everyone 4-0. Don't bother me in the slightest if we don't. It's a tournament, just win the games. If you win the games, you win a trophy. You've only got to do 6 of them, 4 of them, and you win a trophy. So we're almost there now. Win 3 more games or win 3 penalty shootouts. Doesn't matter. That's all we've got to do.
Preferably win them like we won last night, because that was I would much rather have that than just gub a team 3 or 4-0. That was fantastic last night.
Yeah, exactly. That's obviously we've discussed Jeopardy ourselves, Nick, numerous times, but yeah, football is nothing without Jeopardy. So being able to equalise in that fashion in the last minute it's what it's all about. So more of that, please.
More of that. Well, before we properly get onto England, we'll start with Hannah. I really hope you've got a list of everything that's happened because I haven't. I was just going to.
There's been training kit. There's been signings.
Several, yeah, and including another one just before we went on air.
I know that was excellent timing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
7 o'clock on the first day back of training.
It's almost like they're doing it for the benefit of this show, isn't it?
Almost.
So they should.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, but it's almost like they are.
Yeah.
I was regretting having I don't have notifications turned on all the time. Well, I don't have them only for county and only in transfer windows. And I was regretting it earlier when it was like they've had their breakfast. Now they're, walking in with their bags that they're going to take all their stash home with. Like, here they are. I don't know, going for a lunchtime walk.
It was all a bit overkill-ish at points. And then people trying to read loads into the pictures. It's nice to see him. Will Collar's hair is going to be an issue. We're going to have to discuss that at some point. I
enjoyed Durango's comments about it on Yellow Board earlier. Typical Durango fashion. Obviously not repeatable for a family programme, but...
Excellent. This isn't a family programme. You've come on the wrong show if you think this is a family programme.
Yeah, lots of 4-letter words in there.
I called a 5-year-old a fucking idiot within 20 minutes of the show starting last week.
Yes, and then met his dad in the pub the next night, which was deliciously awkward.
Worst birthday ever. Literally the worst birthday ever. Just him calling, you called my son an idiot. Like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Talking about little kids, the comment I liked on the players arriving for pre-season training was I can't remember who it was who said in fact, I think it was Albie Believer on Yellow Board who said, "Has nobody did the mams not check that they had their PE bags with them because we're all carrying their stuff like loose, like one trainer in each hand and MSH with like a mystery Amazon delivery under his arm."
Yeah, and the smallest trainers I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and also, do you know what? Flip-flops. I don't like that. Flip-flops. That doesn't say, like, get back to work to me. If anything, that
says
a deal. Because I think a lot of them are on kind of sponsored deals with boots now, aren't they, the players?
Oh,
So
really? And flip-flops, do you think that could be the case?
We will give you, I don't know, this pair of £200 football boots, but you must carry them to and from games and be photographed holding them. I bet that's what it is.
Do you know what? That would make so much sense. As it makes more sense than the kind of the mams and the pea bags theory, which has now been blown out of water. I think it's because why else would you carry one boot in each shoe, a box? What's MSH got in his box? Something sponsored that he needs to get out for the next.
But one of the things they'll have done today is they like give them all the stash, and I bet like the branded bags and all of that will be part of what they get sent home with.
So that's it. So the mums have said to them, "Have you got your pee bag?" And they said, "Ma'am, I told you last night we'll get them when we go in." I'm just
Nando's going to give me one.
Who do we reckon still lives at home with the mums? Which players?
Good question.
Ashton, me, because he's only about 13.
Yeah, Cody Johnson, ditto.
Cody for sure. Cody's man still cuts his hair.
He's only 18, isn't he? 19, Cody Johnson.
Cody Johnson will always
19, I think.
Yeah, Rydell won't. He's old enough now to make his own.
He's old enough. He's over 21 now. Ethan Pye, he's still living at home.
Once they go over 18, they can live in like Vita Towers in Manchester, but under that, they stay with host families.
Is that right? Wow.
We've not signed anyone that young, though, have we?
No, but even down to the academy ones.
Right.
That is amazing. That is like, I didn't know that kind of would still happen, but because it's funny because last night when I was watching the England game, somebody said to me, "Isn't it funny how they all room with each other? Like, multi-million-pound footballers share a room with each other, But also it's kind of like that, isn't it? It's like George Best in Stretford in the 60s with an Irish landlady. So I quite like that as a kind of romantic.
I hope someone like Fraser Horsfall, Kyle Wharton still lives at home with the mum. Like, comes and does his washing, he's still got his bedroom at home with like posters of Ronaldo on the wall or whatever. Yeah,
basically they all live at home until proved otherwise.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
I think. Well, Ben, if you were a footballer, who would you want the boot sponsorship from? Which company would you want? I think I'd go Mizuno or Diodora, maybe something a bit more.
I mean, the hipster points, you would say like Copa Mundials, Adidas, like old school Copa Mundials. But so I'm going to say that, but also I'm fully in favour. It depends on the kit as well you're wearing it with. You need to coordinate your boots with your socks and the rest of your kit. But for me, I would go full on like pink and lime green, full on fluorescent, as leery, as obnoxious and indulgent as you can get. Yeah.
No coloured boots until you've played a first team game. Them are the rules.
And when are you allowed to wear gold ones?
Never.
Yeah.
I like Rodri had some nice pink ones on yesterday. I think they're a Nike Phantom Superfly something or other.
He's not a pink boots player for me, Rodri. He's not a pink boots player.
It's a little quiz, very niche quiz, which will only last for 10 seconds. A pair of boots I used to have when I was younger were Quasar. Do you remember?
Yeah. I think so.
Current League One teams, so a League One team we will face next year, had their kits supplied by Quasar in either the early 90s or late 80s.
No.
I'm going to go Birmingham.
I'm going to say Birmingham just because they're quite a big club.
I don't know. I mean, I've not checked all other 23 clubs, but the one in my head, I think it was Charlton. Could be totally wrong, and I've just made it up. But I'm sure Charlton had Quasar kits.
See, Quasar to me was the original name for Laser Quest.
Yeah.
That's dated me, hasn't it? There, yeah,
Well,
that was Quasar to me. Yeah, there should be more. Do you reckon? What do you reckon footballers do for team building now? Do you reckon they still go to like Laser Quest or go and play? I noticed there's a pool table and dartboard at the training ground. Footballers bloody love pool and darts.
Yeah, I think the dartboard seems to get a lot of use in like the behind the scenes photos and stuff that Petch puts up. I don't know. We just probably Instagram and Snapchat each other from opposite sides of the room now, don't they? That's
They need to do more of it, don't they? Because again, thinking of that was another subject that came up actually watching England yesterday was the subject of carpet bowls. Does anybody remember back in the 70s? Don Revie, the England manager, got the players playing carpet bowls together. And I don't even think I know what carpet bowls is. Some kind of indoor version.
No wonder we won nothing. Bloody hell! Pissing around with carpet
and race
balls.
nights, showing reruns of horse races that have already happened.
I thought you meant like Jim Davidson had come in and do a stand-up set.
I don't get the impression many of them are many of the players are drinkers. I think the last big drinkers we've had were Quigley, seemed to be a bit of a drinker, and maybe Paddy.
Yeah,
I don't get the impression that there's many in the current squad who, you'd bump into, there's the classic, you'd bump into players at Volts in the 90s on Grand Central. I don't get the impression you'd see many of them out till 3 o'clock in the morning anymore.
No, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like what do you? I'm talking about England again, but like, what do you do for 2 weeks if you're all in a hotel together? You know what I mean? So they're gonna have to find something gainful and worthwhile to entertain each other and themselves, aren't they? Yeah.
How bored do you reckon they get in the summer when they're waiting for pre-season to start? At what point do you reckon they're dying to go back? Like, at no point during the 6 weeks holidays at school was I like, oh, can't wait to get back.
And they go on a holiday, and then they go on a golfing holiday, and then they're all from my baby reindeer Instagram stalking. It's full on holidays. I don't think they've got time to get bored.
Yeah, it's just constant, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think the other thing is it's the age profile of the squad now is so young that there doesn't seem to be. There's what they seem again, from the ones you see on Instagram, which is obviously a curated slice of their life. You don't see. I don't think there's a huge number of them who have got kids, or the ones who do have kids are fairly young. I think Odin Bailey's got a little one, but like preschool age. There's not many who are tied to school holidays. Doesn't look like. I think Hinchliffe's kids are a bit older.
Nick Powell, I think.
Yeah, there's not many, so they can just do what they want, go on holiday whenever they want.
And Macca got married. That's what he did in his off season. There was the stag do before that.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Just watching through like the windows, watching through the net curtains, what all the players
Call me Fiona.
Yeah.
Martha. Legal reasons. Martha.
As much as I'd like to speculate all night on what the players have done with the summer, what we'll do is jump onto the fixtures straight after this. I'll never get over that, the way it pulses. It's fantastic. Yes, so last Wednesday was fixture release day. Can exclusively reveal we're playing 23 teams in a predetermined combination of games, predictably. Hannah, what's the pick for you? What have you taken out of that fixture list and thought, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to?
So I look less at the fixture list in its entirety and go for, so I look for the first one, I look for the last one, I look for Boxing Day, New Year's Day, the one around my birthday. That's pretty much it. And then this time I look for Blackpool. I think we've done all right. Yeah.
Blackpool on the first Saturday away was.
I mean,
that's we were kind of thinking that's like the choice out of the box. That really, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Unless people seem to be saying that.
But I think you've said before in various places, Blackpool is not necessarily what it's cracked up to be as in a wage fit.
No, I fundamentally am missing out on something here. I don't get it. it's just rubbish. Like, I don't get why people get so excited about it.
I mean, I've never
It's
been.
like-
I've never been to the football at Blackpool, so I will.
you're not
I
missing
will
much.
kind of
But like
concede to your knowledge.
Like, if you look at like coastal towns in the northwest, like, and you could go to any, like Morecambe is nicer, but Fleetwood is, not much nicer, but it's on that kind of par. And I just don't like. I put this on the board the other week. I don't get why people get so giddy about Blackpool. Is it because it's by the seaside? Is
Oh,
it
yeah.
'cause
absolutely. That's why I get giddy. I get giddy because it's like romantic associations with English seaside. I imagine I'm going to arrive on a donkey, basically.
But nobody got giddy about Morecambe or Grimsby, and they're by
No,
the
that's
seaside.
true, and I don't, which I probably should.
So Blackpool has this kind of allure that everyone
there.
wants to go to, and the fact that it's in August, we probably will take as many tickets as we get. But it'll be interesting to see how it's handled by the club with demand for tickets, because again, I'm probably just going to put out a load of nonsense now, and which the club will enjoy me doing. But somebody at the ticket office has told a mate when he was renewing his ticket that we're not rolling over the kind of aways from last season. It's starting from scratch again.
Okay.
Which is interesting because Blackpool is going to be one of the highest demand games. First away game of the season. It's Blackpool, it's local, it's all those things. We've got 6,000 season ticket holders. Obviously not 6,000 are going to go, but I believe the allocation there is about 2,000. We will sell 2,000 for that, no problem. So is it just going to be a free-for-all? Are they going to roll over, essentially the points from last season, which I really, really hope they do. So it'll be interesting to see how that's handled.
Yeah, and 2,000. Okay, I think maybe that's the other thing about why Blackpool is thought of as quite a big one, because that's a fairly big away allocation, right? I mean, I know League One will get bigger allocations, but I just think of it as a ground with a big end for the away fans. Again, speaking as someone's never been to the football at Blackpool, that's just my general impression.
Yeah. I mean, last time I went, I think the last time we played there was the 4-0 under McElroy at the start of 04-05.
Okay.
We'd lost the first two against Huddersfield and Colchester, and we beat Blackpool 4-0. And it's when Bloomfield Road was in the process of being done up. And we were in a side stand. But I don't think we've played there since, unless I'm missing something.
I can't remember we're playing in my time at all.
I know you appreciate, you said you've not ever been before, but if anyone watching has been in the past, kind of more than 25 years ago, and they remember that huge old open terrace that was kind of divided in the middle and the orange crush barriers and everything, it's unrecognizable now. It's not, it's not some temple of football or anything, but it's unrecognizable from how it was back in the early or mid 90s.
I went, but I can't remember anything other than parking and being in a car park with loads of people with orange shirts on. That's literally, it's weird the things you remember, isn't it? But that's literally it. But that would have been 90s, I guess.
I'm waiting to see grown adults with plastic tits on them on the seafront, like the Paul Gascoigne thing. That's what I'm hanging on for, to be honest.
Yeah,
it'll happen.
I heard Will said he'd do that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's his penance for not being available tonight. But at home, first day and closing day.
Sorry, Vicky in the comments. Official friend of the collection, Vicky Sweeney West. It was that big standing, crumbling end. We played them just before the Borough home game in 1997. We were meant to play Borough on the Wednesday, but it was postponed. We played Blackpool away on the Saturday, and we lost 2-1. And I think our goal was a late own goal, like 92nd, 93rd minute. That's my memory of that.
I mean, we could. It's probably a bad time to Blackpool. It seems to be one of those. I know people are coming out and saying, "Oh well, I'd be happy with fifth bottom," but I think it's fair to. I don't think that's what we're going for. Looking at the signings, I think we're going for top six. But surely we've got to expect a slow start again. You'd imagine, given the turnover in the squad. I mean, we've had slow starts when there's not been much of a squad turnover, so you'd expect that to be the case this time, surely.
it's a lot to expect us to just even if you take out the kind of we always have a slow start, which we do. It's quite a lot to expect a team with what eight new signings, 9 new signings, whatever it'll be by when we start to just like click straight into gear. And I suppose as well, I don't know. Are we're signing an interesting mix of players, aren't we? We're not necessarily signing players who have got like, like lots of full seasons behind them at this level before. Like maybe we were a little bit more in like League Two and the National League. So I think it's quite exciting generally. There's almost a bit of jeopardy there in terms of how they're going to like gel. They're all obviously really good players. You're looking at them, they're like England youth players, some of them, etc. I'm sure we'll get into them one by one, but I feel that there's some real fantastic potential and also some kind of jeopardy about how quickly they'll gel together into a team at this level.
And I think that's the really good thing about that we seem to have done a lot of business early, like first pre-season, still 4 days away. And it also implies that we're getting the people that we wanted rather than, them going somewhere else and then kind of scrabbling around in mid-July. Like if you think back to Pinatar last year and how many trialists there were, and, there were players that were probably never going to sign. And this season, it just feels like we're a step ahead, which is very encouraging.
Absolutely. And I suppose that the fact of how quickly they've come like suggests that as well, for sure, I think, Hannah. And also just like who they are. Like Rawley's first team goalkeeper was clearly like sought after. The guy we've signed today from Burton, similarly, right? These are not guys who were ever going to go anywhere because nobody else wanted them at a later stage. So I think it's,
and Burton fans would we've because Burton are one of those teams in League One that have done a lot of business. It started up, Rotherham did a lot, Mansfield went early, and then they've kind of calmed down. Burton, it just like by the end of last week, it just got a little bit silly. I think it was around the time they signed Godwin Malife and someone else, can't remember who it was. But they've got El Watt, they've got Ben Whitfield. Again, they're transplanting players from League Two that they've seen promising. They are offering massive wages, which I think helps that transition, especially given where they finished in the league last season. But because there's been so many announcements, we've been talking to Burton fans quite a lot, and their take on Sam Hughes is that they fully expected, they'd kind of come to terms with that he was moving on. They'd got to this point in the transfer window, he hadn't re-signed. They could see all these other players coming in, and were prepared for it. There, as someone said on the WhatsApp group earlier, you get the ones that are really bitter and they're like, I didn't want him anyway. He's always injured. Like, fuck him, he can go. But the vast majority, he was their player of the season in 22-23. He's brilliant in the air. Not apparently great at passing, but plays it. And this is when you get into our kind of imminent embarrassment of riches scenario. He's another centre back, right back.
That's the thing I saw that somebody said on I think Twitter, could this be basically a looking to a replacement for Akil Wright? Which one of the things I was thinking coming in even to today before we signed this guy was, looking at the retained list, I was really pleased to see Akil Wright there, because there's a guy for me who's had his doubters over time, but just keeps seeming to prove himself and step up. And so I don't know. I guess it'll just be interesting to see what happens there. Like you say, with the embarrassment of riches in that position, carrying that ball out of defence, which seems to be this new guy's thing as well, right?
Yeah, and they've said, haven't they? Was it Simon Wilson's interview that said that they were expecting to see some departures, so they may well already know where the gaps are going to be that they've kind of preempted filling potentially.
Just on, I think Nick, you said there, some people said, they take fifth from bottom. No, I wouldn't even take fifth from top. Well, I'm not just saying that to be like, look at me. Honestly, wouldn't, for all the things that you've just said. Both of you just said there.
Yeah.
Talk about a team which pissed the league last year. And I know that we, you know, if some people say we didn't, we absolutely did. We pissed the league. We were head and shoulders above everyone else. By any metric, we were the best team in the league by a long way. We then added to that established and proven League One players, plus some of the better players from League Two. Completely agree that this whole we always have a slow start, so therefore we'll have another slow start is utter bollocks, because what happened 5 years ago has no relevance over what happened last year. So last year should have no relevance over what happened this year. Like the team that goes out against Cambridge on the first game is the team that goes out against Cambridge, and they should be judged as such. What happened 12 or 24, 36 months ago is irrelevant. And yeah, I don't, you know, I'm not going to be upset if we don't finish fifth. I wouldn't be upset. Would I be upset if we don't finish in the playoffs? I don't know. I wouldn't be upset. Definitely wouldn't be upset. I think that we've absolutely got the potential to finish in the playoffs. And there's no doubt that is at least what the target will be. There's no way we are going into next season saying, oh yeah, 10th. That you know, we're aiming for 10th. There's no way Wilson and like the management at the club are looking at that. The players we've signed were capable of much, much more than that. And yeah, I know me saying like, oh, I wouldn't take fifth is a bit of a like inflammatory but I think we're capable of it. We're capable of more than that.
And you know, I agree for sure on the players. On that will be the players. I think of Nick Powell at the end of the season and on the interviews after, was it the last game? And he was the one who was saying, "Oh, it's just a start for me." And then I think of Corey. I don't know how we pronounce his second name.
Adai.
Thank you, Hannah. I watched his interview yesterday, and his answer to the question on what's the kind of ambition, he said, I think the quote was, "I don't see how we can't make history." And I liked how he said it. It was very kind of calm and just, this is what we're setting out to do. So I definitely agree it's the target, you know.
I've said this multiple times before on the board, and there's this, and you know, nobody from the club will ever publicly say this because they're setting themselves up for failure or for ridicule or something. But we've obviously got the well-trotted line-out championship in 7 years, which we'll do with time to spare. And then at the forum, I think it was when Steve was still about, so summer 21, was it Wilson or Stott? Whoever was there said, I think it was Stott, revised it to say that it's not the championship in 7 years, it's to be a top 30, it's to be a top 30 team in the country. Because if you're a top 30 team in the country, you're top 10 in the championship, and you will get a go at the Premier League. And I have absolutely no doubt in my head that behind the scenes, that Wilson, Stott, Challoner, whoever it is, you know, who makes the decisions, that the goal is the Premier League. And I'll never, ever, ever hear anything which goes against that. Look at what we're doing. Look at the direction the club's going, the money we're putting into it, the opportunities that the new revenue will bring with these bloody LED boards and all that kind of stuff. We can now have like 10 times as many sponsors per game, because instead of having E-Park potatoes sat there for,
that's a shame.
I love that though.
I know. I don't want to get the Premiership if it means E-Park potatoes has got to go.
But every 20 seconds we can refresh that board and have another company and another company and another company, and particularly behind that, you know, the TV arc they call it. So the main stand behind each goal, that'll go for big money. And we, like I said, we will hit the championship, and we'll just keep on going. We will just absolutely keep on going. And I don't expect us to become like an established Palace kind of, you know, finish 13th every year in the Premier League.
Oh,
I absolutely think, what year are we in now? I'll check my phone. 2024. As if it tells me on the phone, like, what year we're in. I almost think by the end of this decade, we could be a Premier League team.
Oh, mate.
Seriously. And I think that's what the club will be planning for.
I hear what you're saying. Top 30. Yeah. I just kind of stopped at the potato thing, though. I'm like, I
totally agree. We should never get rid of E-Park potatoes. That always has to have a place,
even if it's just like fleeting for like 2.5 seconds on one of the balls.
Has to be there, and you know, it's obviously not on the same level as Ken or anything like that, but it's part of the club. And yeah, if we can get like the old one, like back in the north when it was before it got its rebrand, it was just exclamation mark, and that was the
Exclamation
ball.
mark.
Yeah.
And then they had the potato in the county scarf as well.
That's what we want.
I love the fact that yeah, go on, Hannah, sorry.
I would be happy with top half. The like I love the supercomputer. The supercomputer has us at ninth. It has Crawley top of the relegation point. So what's that, like 19? 21st, is it?
Yeah, 4 go down, don't they?
Yeah. And then above them, 4 points above them is Mansfield, and then just above Mansfield is Wrexham. But that's the first prediction that I've seen that has got us higher than Mansfield and Wrexham. Most of them have Wrexham around like 8th, 9th, 10th. Mansfield kind of mid-table, and us just above relegation. But the supercomputer never lies. I mean, it gets it wrong, but be interesting to see what it's based on.
This is probably a silly question, but like, how does it know? How does the supercomputer know what the hell?
The boffins, Jonathan. The boffins.
Oh, the
done all the
boffins.
work.
Those experts, those damned experts.
Always the boffins.
Who's going to listen to experts?
I'd love to think that it's looked at our transfers in and like the average. I'm hypothesizing. I don't know that it's this smart, but I've seen algorithms before that do incorporate that, and they take in like the wealth in the club, the transfer business, the all sorts of kind of stats that indicate success or potential of success.
It's
but I don't know.
It's some gormless teenager in the bedroom, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's somebody.
I think it's like Buchan blindfolded, spinning yourself around 6 times, and then just pointed with a biro at a piece of A4.
It's fairly well known. I work for quite a large, well-known bookmaker, and there's somebody I work with who has these statistical models that they use, and they predict. This is a personal thing. Obviously, we do a lot of this at work as well. But he predicts the leagues every year, and I think in League 2 last year he got something like 14 or 15 of the positions right because of the data and the data points that he uses. And that's the kind of supercomputer we should be consulting. Like I say, not some weirdo in a box room who's just picking names out of a hat, essentially.
That's probably a good approach, isn't it? I would have thought. Yes.
It's the only approach.
It's not that we've got a supercomputer. It's that there is a supercomputer. Is that right? And it's the superest. Okay. I was to say we're going to finish 9th. Is that what it says, Hannah? Is that what you said?
9th, yeah. But as Phil's pointed out, and Liam Richardson pointed out to me yesterday when I was talking to him about it, last season it had us outside the playoffs and top of the first. So
that's not super at all, is it?
But we'll move on from that because I was encouraged by it this year, whereas last year it would have been disillusioning.
Definitely wouldn't take 9th.
I'll be back in a second. Either the cat's come in and left the door open. I'll just be back in a second.
Definitely take 9th.
Don't mind me.
Also, in terms of the fixtures, it's a shame to see that Huddersfield away has fallen on Boxing Day, because that was a train ride I was looking forward to with all the pubs en route. And then Birmingham away on a Tuesday night as well. Both Wrexham games are during international breaks. And as you pointed out, Ben, a real dearth of early season midweek games, which is very strange. I don't understand that.
We have to wait till October for a first midweek league game. There should be one. Kick off on the Saturday, Carabao on the Tuesday, play Saturday, and then at least 2 midweek games by the end of September. But nothing.
Yeah.
We've got Shrewsbury away, I think, in October, and then Northampton away in November or March. We've got Shrewsbury and Northampton, both rounds of fixtures against those 2 are Tuesday nights.
Okay. I'm looking forward to Barnsley. I like the idea of Barnsley. I don't even know why. When I saw the list of the teams, I wasn't exactly underwhelmed. I was like, okay, that's League One, But then when I see them on dates, and I guess you can then picture them, can't you? You can imagine yourself there on Boxing Day, on Easter Monday, on a Tuesday night, whatever it is. And I'm saying like, oh my God, that's my next 9 months. I know exactly what's afoot here. This is fantastic. You know?
This is, of
Yeah.
course, all dependent on Sky Sports and their new deal that no
Oh,
one can
man.
make head nor tail of. So no one
So-
quite knows what's happening.
Is it Wednesday? They had 7 days, didn't they? So presumably by the end of this week, we'll know what's moving around to the end of August.
Oh,
Is it?
okay.
And then they've got another. I can't remember when they've got then for the rest of them.
I hope that
Okay.
given we're in the same league as Wrexham, they'll get a lot of they'll take the brunt of the being moved about, and we can just crack on. The opening day is 5:30, isn't it? On a
Yeah.
which
Oh, I didn't know
as
that.
me and Ben have discussed previously, that's probably the pinnacle of modern day kickoff times. I think 5:30 on a Saturday is as good as it gets.
And
When was that
Mansfield.
last, Nick? Going back to conversations we've had previously, because in the National League, were they 5:20 on a Saturday?
That was 5:20 in the National League. Yeah.
What was our last
Annoyingly.
5:30 on a Saturday?
MK Dons.
Was that 5:30?
Oh, that was
5:30,
a
wasn't it?
banging day.
I think,
What a day out that was.
Was that not 5:15? I'd have to check.
I don't
Oh,
know,
now
but it was
I am
in that.
worried.
It was in that arena, and we sat in Basque and watched the Mansfield Colchester, drank some more, walked to the ground, nearly got in a fight, and then it was an ace day. Yes, I'm 100% up for 5:30 kickoffs or 5:15.
I'd kick off at R5 or 5:15. It was 5:15 according to Phil Lloyd, the MK.
Yeah, it wasn't
when our
5:30.
last actual 5:30 was then. It must have been. Was Crystal Palace in the Championship? There was one in January that was on a Sunday. That might have been 5:30.
That's not Saturday,
Might
though,
have
is
been-
it?
No, Saturday 5:30. I can't even think. I don't think we've had one. I don't think we've had the actual
National
5:30.
League, National League was always 5:20, and I think Football League is 5:15 evening kickoffs. I don't know if there's ever been a 5:30, unless it used to be back in old money. But I don't remember many, unless one of the playoff games was. Maybe. Anyway, derailing things as usual. But answers on a postcard. Your niche trivia.
Yeah, maybe the Wickham home playoff. That was a Saturday tea time, wasn't it?
That was a Saturday. That was definitely a Saturday. That could
So
be.
maybe
But either way, that's
Maybe that was
what,
R5.
16 years ago. The Wickham.
Yeah, and if that was the last one, that's I'm gonna dig into this ahead of next week because no one seems to have an answer in the comments either. 127 people watching, and not one of them has the.
Salford in the
answer.
playoff.
Maybe no one cares as much as Ben.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I do.
Salford away, maybe, when we lost 1-0. That might have been
I-
5. Well, that
I
might-
think that was a bit. I think that was 6 because it cut into Eurovision.
I don't remember.
No,
Was it the
well, I
game?
don't. After
it
the way
was.
that went. We actually had a very real discussion with about 20 minutes of the game left, saying, should we mute the game and put Eurovision on? Like, genuinely, how badly that game was going, absolutely terrible. I think we should talk some more in terms of signings. We should talk about Corey Adai because the amount of people I have seen suggesting that he'll be number 1 from the start of the season is genuinely blown my mind. Like it really, like people have just. It's like people have done the thing out of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where you can like erase someone from your memory. It's like they've just, as soon as the day the season finished, it's like they went right and just had our Golden Glove winning legendary goalkeeper wiped from the brains. It's mental.
Yeah.
Corey Adai terrifies me as a player to the extent that when there were rumours kind of circulating last week, I fired off a few text messages to people that would be in the know saying, please tell me that this isn't happening. And he's someone that I've kind of kept an eye on. And I think it was the end. So he got caught up in all of Crawley's shenanigans in 22-23. So when they were down to 0 goalkeepers, he was brought back in. Previously, he'd only played as cover, but weirdly played against us both times that season. Okay. And watching him, he'd be like allergic to his area. He'd be all over the place. And even as an opposition fan, I was like, go back, you're just leaving your goal completely open. And then he was getting so much stick from Crawley fans. And it was when I was writing for the Real EFL, and I looked at his stats, and actually they kind of compared to Lawrence Vigouroux, who was the Golden Glove winner that season. And the difference was, because of Crawley, it was the quality of Crawley's defence that his stats were kind of inflated in the same way that they were last season. I mean, his prevented goals was exponentially higher than Ben's, but again, it comes down to the quality of the defence. So last season he was very strong for Crawley. Again, you know, more shots are coming at him, so he's got more opportunity to prevent them. But yeah, he has a tendency to play like a right back.
He's the one thing I saw on oh my goodness, yeah. I have not seen him clearly as much as you have, Hannah, or know the whole history. But the one thing I did pick up just from looking briefly was he says that he likes to play with the ball. So like straight away, oh my goodness, okay, let's do the ball. On YouTube, if you search for him on YouTube, you get to the clip is something like outrageous ball control from goalkeeper. Have you seen it? And it's a shot from like the halfway line, and he's chasing back. Oh, there's a back pass. It's a ridiculous back pass from the halfway line by one of his players, and it's arcing back into the goal mouth. And then, yeah, fair enough, he manages to control it like underneath of his boot, and then dribble past the opposition left winger, and then clear the ball like fairly calmly to his midfielder. But the thing is, the only reason any of that happens is what happens at the start of the clip, which is he's fucking playing right back for no reason whatsoever. And he just belts the ball down the lane and just like, okay, that looks like a decent ball. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna get that goal. And it's like, I think we're going to get a bit of that, Hannah. That's what it's
like. Know what's hit them when that happens.
I don't mind that. I don't. You know, that's kind of you know. Look at the game now, and obviously, I have no idea how any of these things work. But you look at the game, and goalkeepers do play a lot more advanced position, and they do need to be better with the feet. And I don't mind if he takes a few risks, and I don't mind if he makes some mistakes and he learns from it. That's, you know, every footballer, every person in the world is the same as that. And if it helps us evolve our playing style in the future, then nice one. And hopefully he kicks on and becomes the long-term successor to Ben. But him being, people used to say Jaros was good with his feet. He was good. But he wasn't as good as Ben at doing the other things a goalkeeper should do, about making decisions and catching the ball and keeping the ball out of the net. And it's a bit fair on Jaros because we only had a very short time to kind of judge him. But yeah, it's great. And if he has the same attributes as Ben and he can do the goalkeeping, you know, the kind of the classic goalkeeping stuff as well as Ben, but then he has that additional thing, and you know, he's obviously a lot younger than Ben, then you know, sounds like we've got an absolute gem. But Ben's not bad with his feet. The best pass we saw last year from any county player was him to set up Collar with that 70-yard pass with Wrexham. And that wasn't from a goal kick or out of his hands. That was a back pass to him where he was under pressure, and he still pinged the absolute pass of the decade to feet, which allowed Collar to go and set up Alafe. And for all the potential that Adai's got, and you know, like I say, it suggests get a 3-year deal, he will become the long-term successor to Ben. And not even being sentimental about Ben and forgetting his backstory and all of that kind of stuff. He's just won us a league title and won the Golden Glove. He has done absolutely nothing to warrant not being number one for the start of the season. If he goes and makes the balls of it, then, you know, maybe bring Adai in. But he's literally, in 370 games for us, never made a balls of it. He's never, you know, people say, oh, the Stockport goal against Harrogate. All right, what else? What else has he done that's been a mistake? You know, very, very little. Someone will point out another mistake now in the chat. But, you know, there's very, very little mistakes. He's been consistently good year on year. And he's more than earned the opportunity to start the season. And he's earned a bad patch as well. But I can just see it. We'll get to like the 5th, 8th, 10th game in. He'll drop a cross or someone will chip him or something like that. And it'll be right, get him out, get Adai in. And it's just utter nonsense that, yeah, you know, if Horsfall makes a mistake, we don't be like, right, get him out and let's bring someone else in. Just give him the opportunity, and he will pay us back as he's done every year for the last 8 seasons.
I think that it will probably just be on merit, and whoever they'll both get their chances in the preseason games. And
sorry, people are literally pointing out his mistakes in the comments now.
What would you expect any different? But yeah, I think that I can't see that Dave Chalner is a particularly sentimental man, and yeah, I think it'll just go down to. But I agree in that what we saw when we had Yaros was, I think Ben started, had a rough couple of games. Yaros came in, and they were almost like, before Yaros was injured, they were kind of tussling all the time, and it brought out the best in both of them, I think. So hopefully it does that, and we end up with 2 brilliant first choice goalkeepers. But either way, I feel so much more comfortable or confident with either one as a backup goalkeeper than I did last season with Jordan Smith. I remember, every little niggle or any time Ben was having any kind of treatment, it was, oh my God, this is it. This will be the end. And I think that's how important he was last season.
Can we just agree as well that when Adai gets the ball, we should have like a bingo card of how many times we'll hear, stop fucking around with it. Just get rid of it. Don't just get rid of it, because then you're just giving away possession and inviting back on yourself. So let him play his game and pick a pass.
Yeah. And you know what? I know I was saying what I just said about the YouTube clip, but actually, to pick what Hannah said, we're signing a guy who's just come out of League Two and played a full season and been League Two's best goalkeeper statistically. He's clearly got a great kind of, track record behind him. Like, he's come to compete for the shirt. That's the reason we're having this conversation, right? So it's a good position to be in, isn't it?
He has. Well, so did Ethan Ross, so did Jordan Smith, so did Nick Yaros. They all came to compete for the shirt. And Ben never let us down.
Oh, I think I agree. I agree. That's I agree that Ben's earned the shirt. I just think there's maybe just a bit more competition for him this time.
I think the worst thing to come out of us signing another keeper is the fact I keep hearing the phrase goalkeeping unit being used, which is really making my shit. It's just another modern football phrase that gets
to
on
the
my
goalkeeping
tits.
unit. Like,
the goalkeeping
unit. Is it Port of Covington? Is that on the door? It's
when does the goalkeepers union become the goalkeeping union? I think the goalkeepers union is all the goalkeepers across the game, including pundits.
Do you know what?
But the goalkeeping unit is one club.
Anymore, Nick. Kickoff when they switch ends, goalkeepers used to run right in front of each other and like fist bump or tap each other, like a good look, like the goalkeepers union calling card, and they'd be like, it was a little nod of respect. Don't do that anymore. They run opposite sides of the centre circle, and
is that what they do now? Like an extra time? That's
don't get it anymore.
That for me is a ban from the goalkeepers union signed guy. I'm sorry, that's just not on. And do you know what happens in the goalkeeping unit, Nick? By the way, I think they've got a little Excel spreadsheet there tracking the progress of the goalkeeping project.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You
just
got to get project in there. You've got to.
Yeah.
So it's aside from the fixtures, that's a point. I didn't look to see which under-21 team we're getting battered by.
Everton.
All right, right. That's that done. We can move on from that. But the Coca-Cola Cup draw brings us Blackburn at home just a few weeks after we have them in a friendly. Winnable, I'd say. Ben, what do you reckon?
Yeah, of course it is. We more than matched Wednesday last season. We were by far the better team until we took Cody Johnson off against Wednesday. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know. Have they still got that Smodic at Blackburn? He was.
Do you reckon he'll be off in the summer? Yeah, they reckon he'll be
I don't know how seriously Blackburn are going to take it. They might just throw out a load of kids. And what you tend to see,
again, we might. The way we've
what you tend to see with Championship clubs is the prize money is so low. I think last season it was only 5k for winning the first round, which is dwarfed by either like the Papa Johns. It's not worth Championship teams being in it because they're not going to win it. So, and the prize money isn't enough to even warrant a cup run of getting to like the quarterfinals. So they just throw out the kids and get out of it as soon as possible. So you could well see us if again, we've had this conversation again, Nick, between ourselves many times before. I don't particularly like this playing or rotating for cup games. I think you should play your strongest 11 in every game, kind of thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a die playing that game to give him a run out. And but yeah, we're absolutely capable of beating Blackburn. Doesn't mean I think we will, but wouldn't surprise me if we did.
Well, it just shows how far we've come that we're playing Blackburn in a cup game and we're just one division below them. It's points like that where you just have to like take a step back and think, wow, this is meant. I mean, it's not so long ago we were playing like Chorley. That was the closest we were getting to that way, and it's just it's mad. It's mad. But I mean, if we can, we're still due that big cup tie. Obviously, we've again something we've spoken about on other pods, Ben, is that West Ham game that we got denied during lockdown. Yeah, that was the closest we've come to that. So that is due.
One of the great kind of tragedies of modern times, that of the whole COVID era, the fact that
was the worst thing about COVID.
I think so. I think that was by far the worst.
So, I saw all the people that died. That was the worst.
And I think I think this every year we're going to get a big draw because every football fan thinks that. But I feel like we're due a really big obscene away game. You know, when you get like 12,000 allocation at somewhere, and everyone
Newcastle away.
Newcastle away.
Oh no, come on!
Thought that'd pick you up, Jonathan.
I mean, I have been concentrating. You know what I mean? But you've definitely got my attention there.
Yeah, like literally get a quarter of the ground, or 20% of the ground, whatever, a fifth of the ground. I can see us getting something like that, and it just being, literally people take the mum and the grandma and the colleagues and all of this because we've just got so many tickets to go around. Yeah,
pubs on Edgeley having to shut because there's just no one left on Edgeley. That sort of thing. Yeah, the thing that the old town turns out.
Bow out with a 2-0. Yeah.
That'd be classic. Yes. Well, before we wrap up, we might as well drop a couple of shirts out for us, Ben. See what we've got going on.
Any requests? I've not got everything here.
No,
have you got anything? Have you got anything that's historical but approaching the same colour as the sky blue training kit that Ben's banging on about in the comments?
Right, hang on. So basically, a blue county shirt.
Let's look at. And Ian says anything that looks like this season's shirts.
Tell you what we've got. Let's go with these. So
now we're talking.
Nice.
Home. So we've got who's that? Toddy's regular home shirt. Then Kevin Francis's home shirt without the sponsor bands from the early part of the season.
Wow.
Then we've got Michael Wallace's Wembley shirt, if you can see the Wembley embroidery. So the shirt he was sent off in. And then Dave Miller's Wembley shirt from the Burnley game as well. That's sky blue.
Nice set of shirts.
I mean, it could be here all night, but just allow me just to be annoying.
Do it. Oh, there we go.
I mean, that's it. And with the Euros on as well, that's like just ideal, isn't it?
Kieran Durkins, bless him, and Jim Gannons.
It's very weird with the Euros being on, seeing Romania wearing Joma. It's come full circle. Like we were wearing their kit like less than 30 years ago, and now they're wearing the manufacturer that we had at our lowest ebb.
Yeah.
So I'll stop in a minute, I promise. Just reading the comments. Someone wants the Jade Green kit. So we've got long sleeve Andy Priest, which actually there's two variants of this. This one, if you can see, it's got like a black piping around the sleeves.
Oh yeah.
And the cuffs, which was worn on a handful of occasions, and then a number 12, which was definitely worn by Andy Priest. amongst others. But that's a short sleeve without the black piping.
You need to bring the long sleeve kits back in the club shop. You don't get the long sleeves anymore, and it's a tragedy.
Both Cambridge and Burton have got a shirt that colour, and they're both really nice.
There we go. So yeah, if you want a shirt special, then yeah, Mither nick about
we will be.
We can. I'll basically
don't even Mither me. We'll just do it.
Hours saying, "Here's this shirt, and here's the story behind it." And
yes,
people seem to like that kind of nonsense, don't they?
We'll just record a load of them and just release them as YouTube shorts. That's just.
We should do it like we should do an event, really, shouldn't we?
Probably should do. Probably, yeah. Probably should do. Yeah, we should get that on the go. Right, we will be back next week in some combination. It's great. I feel like a manager getting to rotate the squad. It's good. You know, my first ever, the first time I set up a 5-a-side team when I was 17. Loads of people were like, "Oh, I'll come and play for you," and I was just too polite to say no. So we rocked up with like 25 people for our first game. And with it being like rolling subs, everyone was getting like a minute and a half. And then like, right, you're off again. To be fair, that's all I'd last nowadays. I think like a minute and a half is the best you can get from me. Right, it's about time to wrap it up here. What else we got? Who's playing at the moment in the Euros? And can anyone report what
Portugal
the score
and
is?
Slovenia, and it was 0-0. It's half time, but last time I looked over, it was 0-0. So maybe. At the moment, it's raining, and Alan Shearer's talking. That's all I got.
Oh,
sounds like a riot.
What a portent that is of yeah. Well, he's still. Danny Murphy has been the biggest disappointment of the Euros for me. In the Euros where England haven't really got going, Danny Murphy has been the biggest disappointment because he's filled this Mark Lawrenson role of just seeming to hate the fact that he's getting paid to travel around the world and watch the best footballers. It blows my mind. I'm loving it.
Can I just repeat something that I said earlier in the week? The scandal of ITV replacing Clive Tildesley with Sam Matterface.
Oh, Sam Matterface.
Like, what's he got on somebody to get that gig and to replace Clive Tildesley? I know some people said used to take the piss out of Clive Tildesley, particularly when he was with Andy Townsend. You know, he used to get a lot of stick, but Clive Tildesley, and it's not just a nostalgia thing because we grew up with Clive Tildesley. He's really good. He's really good, and particularly when he works with Ali McCoist, they've got such.
Ali McCoist. I'm really glad you said Ali McCoist. I love Ali McCoist so much, and I think that the reason is because to compare with Danny Murphy, there, he clearly loves the game, and it's like. That should be a given, shouldn't it? Really, of people being pundits, but it kind of clearly isn't. A lot of them don't come across that they massively love the game necessarily, but also he's like really knowledgeable on it, and he just points things out that you haven't necessarily seen. And I think the double act between them is fantastic.
But I totally agree with Philbin as well. He's put in the comment about Adam Summerton. You know, he was the voice of the National League commentary on BT, and you look back on that run we had and the games where against Bournemouth, Southend, Dagenham, Halifax, and all of that. Adam Summerton did all the commentary on them, and he's he still does that, but he's progressed to do kind of Premier League, Champions League games for BT Sport now. He's absolutely one of the best about. He's fantastic. So it'd be great to see him cover us at some point, whether or not Sky will poach him or he'll go to BBC or something. But Adam Summerton, he's really
surprised it's not happened yet, to be honest. I'm just surprised he's still doing that. I'm doing the National League. The thing with Matterface for me, I only last week it was the first time I saw him, and I was surprised how young, not just surprised, but alarmed by how young he is. Because commentators for me should be born at 55. It's like they just came out of the at the age of 55.
Born in a sheepskin coat at 55 as well, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can't have a commentator in the 40s. He's had no life experience.
Have you heard that clip of him about the drink, like the squash, which is like 1 part water, 5 parts cordial or something? Oh, search for it on YouTube, put Sam Matterface cordial or Sam Matterface squash or something. And it's just barbaric that was allowed to be broadcast to a national audience. It's so bad. And he's the lead commentator for ITV now. I'll send you the link.
A couple of points last night where he talked about us playing Slovenia a couple of times last night in the first half hour of the game. It's like, oh, Slovenia
Yeah.
are really having a go against England there. It's like, well, that's basics number one is who we're playing.
Yeah, I'll send you the link, Nick, and you tweet it out.
And then having lead, mind you, if you had lead stuff, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, I'll dig that out and keep an eye on our social media for that. Right, I think we should wrap it up here so we can all go and watch Portugal. Hopefully,
It's still 0-0. Just saying.
Hopefully, get knocked out. That'd
Just
be.
kicked off.
Oh God, I'd love it if Portugal went out. I'm sure Ronaldo will be along for his next tournament at the age of 56 in 2 years or whatever he is. Right, Jonathan. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I hope this can be the first of many on here. It's been fantastic to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolute pleasure. Ben, always a pleasure.
When do I get my my appearance certificate and who's presenting it?
It will be the child of someone you don't know presenting it.
And can you get Steve Bellis to turn the mic up really loud and shout "ladies and gentlemen" just before you?
Of course, yeah. Just as I'm raising my pint to my mouth,
Yeah,
usually
exactly.
that happens. And end up with half of it down, mate. Absolute nightmare every single week. Hannah, thank you. You'll be back with me next week.
I will.
And don't be able to do the thumbs up thing and all that. It's all. I think what we'll do, Hannah, in future, we'll get you to say all that because you sound more sincere.
Okay, I'll work out a script and use my best radio announcer voice.
Excellent. We will do that. Right, everyone. We will see you next week. Say bye.
So everyone.
Bye.